What's going on, family? This is Veal from thejesseveal.com, and what we're going to talk about today, we're going to get into why do some African American men prefer Continental African or women from outside of America over African American women. So let's go into it, goddammit. Let's just keep this shit real raw. So when you talk about the issues between African American men and African American women, most of it comes down to the intangibles. Most of it comes down to the learned behaviors and personalities of the African American woman and the ideologies of the African American woman. See, African American women and that came of age in the 1960s and before were a lot more desirable, not only physically but also ideologically in terms of how they view male-female relations. Submission, right? Submissiveness. That is one of the major reasons why African American men prefer women outside of America. Now, let me say this. There are African American women that are submissive, right? That are as submissive as women from Africa. And there are African American women that are submissive to a degree, but they will only go so far. Matter of fact, I'll say this: there are most African American women will not be submissive. They will be cooperative, but they will not be submissive, and there's a difference to that, you see. So that's one of the major reasons. Now, when we get down to, and listen, understand, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking in a general sense. I'm talking about what the average African or African American women, the way the average woman will behave. Okay? So let's talk about some other things, right? Promiscuity, okay? Promiscuity is another reason. And of course, right, all African American women are not promiscuous. I know African American women that are virgins. I know African American women that have only been with one or two men, or they've only slept with the men that they were in relationships with. But let's just keep this shit a buck, goddammit. African American women, and listen, this extends to all American women if you want to keep it real, right? Before I say this extends to all American women, right? Because when you want to talk about promiscuity and all of those things, this is something that is European in nature, right? Like when you talk about African culture, you talk about Asian culture, most Eastern cultures, they understood the power and that family was the key to their civilization. So they made it to a point where the situation was you had to be married before you had sex, because they understood human nature. I mean, shit, humans like sex, humans like sex, humans like to procreate, and so what they understood was, okay, you have the person get married as soon as possible, so if they need to have sex, they can do it with a partner in a secure structure. So Europeans were the group that did not really adhere to this as much, right? Like you had people that were married but had homosexual relationships on the side, right? You had a lot of European cultures such as Greek culture and Roman culture where grown ass men had wives but they were having promiscuous sex with little boys. You had grown women that were married but they were having lesbian relationships with women and things of this nature. And so, fast forward to present day, these things have gone from Greece to Rome to Europe, 18th century Europe, 17th century Europe, where when you look at, Europe back in the day, I mean, we talk about Europe back in the, 1300s, 1600s, you had the single mother issue in Europe back then, where you didn't have this shit going on in Africa. You didn't have a large population of single mothers that didn't have a father figure. You didn't have that. Now, I'm going a bit on a tangent, but I have to give you the history behind this shit, right? So, I mean, listen, do your own goddamn research. Like, I make generalizations, but this shit is all verifiable, goddammit. You can do your own research and see that most African countries, well, really all African countries, goddammit, they didn't have large populations of single mothers. They had things in place to prevent this because they understood how children who are raised unbalanced can destroy or can, degrade a community and in turn degrade a nation, right? Okay, so anyway, so these things come from Europe. So when you look at the influence on the white woman on not only black women but all other women in the United States, I mean, this is the benchmark that all groups of women aspire to in the United States, right? So these women in the United States, they all follow behind the behavior of the white woman, and the behavior of the white woman, I mean, shit, I went to a white high school. I dealt with white women, for quite a few years through college. You know what I'm saying? Just whether it was dating them, whether it was, communicating with them, being friends and associates with them. I understand white people very well from being so close in communications with them. And so white women, most white women, unless they come from an extremely religious background, they're going to be promiscuous. Most white men as well, they're going to have a lot of sex with a lot of different people. They're going to engage in things like threesomes and orgies and stuff like that. And so this is all learned behavior. All of the negative things from African American in general, we get that from white people. Right, and I have to give you the history on this shit so I can understand, so I can let you know. Listen, man, it's not white women's, it's not black women's fault, right? They're mimicking the wrong goddamn women. And when you talk about this thing, it all ties back to what I said about the black women in the 60s. The reason why, if you look this up, look this shit up. The reason why black men and women were more married than white men and women is because of this very reason. White people were very promiscuous, so it slightly affected their marriages because you had white people that didn't want to get married. This is why white women, there's more white women who are single mothers than total black women in the entire country. So now I talked about white women doing orgies and stuff, right? So when you look at, and I'm talking to you Generation X black people, I know we got a lot of Gen Xers up in there. When you look at what's that college event that used to go down back in the 90s, when you look at Freaknik, right? That's nothing but a big ass goddamn orgy. That's a big ass orgy. I've seen Freaknik footage. It's filled with black women getting naked on public streets, Peachtree Street in Atlanta, right? It's filled with black women performing oral sex in broad daylight on a major U.S. city street. Black women having sex with multiple men on a major street in a major U.S. city. And all of this changed right after the 60s, after the civil rights, is because we had integration. And so prior to that point, black women did not behave this way in large quantities. You see, black women did not behave this way in large quantities. But once we integrated, and the more and more we were able to interact with white people within the United States, we were able to take on their behavior patterns and take on their ideologies on life, right? See, prior to integration, black people didn't put their goddamn grandparents, their mothers and their fathers into nursing homes. We didn't do this shit prior to integration. Your grandparents stayed in your house or one of your siblings' house until they passed away. They were around family. You understand? And so all of these things that are negative, that are just trash, gutter, uncivilized barbarism of a culture, is things that we have viewed and mimicked from Europeans, from white Americans. And black people aren't the only one. If you look at, listen, I talk to men of all races, so I understand and know that there are white men that are displeased with white women in America, and that are dating white women outside of America. They're going to Ukraine and all of these different countries outside of America, right? They're Hispanic men that are choosing not to deal with Hispanic women in America. They're going to Mexico and Colombia and Ecuador and all of these different places to get more traditional women. And the list can go on and on. So that is one of the major issues. The promiscuity, the non-traditional mindset that comes with African American women is the reason why some men, now listen, and this is some men, most African American women are fine. Most African American men are fine with the way shit is. Most African American men want women that have 100 bodies, 50 bodies. You feel me? Most of these dudes want thoughts. They want sluts. And they don't have problems marrying them. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what I'll tell you from what I talk to from random brothers who I do talk to, who I do chop it up with. When you go to the barbershop, any barbershop in the black community, you get to talk to black men from all different walks of life. You understand what I'm saying? And so I understand there's only a certain group of elite, financially well-off black men that are either choosing to date black women from other cultures outside of the U.S., or they're choosing to date women of other races, so Hispanic, Asian, or white women from outside of the U.S. There's only a small, let's say 1/3, right? 1/3 or less of black men feel this way. And you have to understand the reason for that is there's reasons for everything, right? One of the reasons why it's such a a large group that don't care about a woman that can cook. There's a large group of men that don't care about a woman that's a virgin or that has a low body count. There's a large group of men that don't care about women having class and elegance and manners and knowing how to control her tongue, how to be silent in terms of interacting with men or interacting in the public, right? The reason that is because we have a large group of men, two-thirds of black people within the black community were raised by single mothers. And so what that means is there's a difference between the matriarchal mindset and the patriarchal mindset. If you're raised by a single mother, right? If you're raised by a single mother, a woman that for 18 plus years did not have a husband, did not have a consistent male presence in her home, she's going to have a matriarchal mindset. And I'm not going to go into details of what that matriarchal mindset means, but I have associates and even one or two friends that grew up in a female dominated home, and I understand, I can see it clear as day, the different feminine type of mannerisms and emotional systems that they have, in a different type of feminine mindset that they have based on growing up in that home. Even Tupac said, I was raised by a woman, you know what I'm saying? So I think and act like a woman, goddammit. And that, you have to understand, that shit don't have nothing to do with our exterior. It don't matter how many goddamn niggas you done killed on the street. It don't matter how much dope you done sold, how many tattoos you have, how many goals, and how many niggas you done beat up. You understand what I'm saying? It don't matter if you 300 pounds of muscle. The mindset, the psychological implications is a whole nother thing. You understand? So now, so let's recap a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. I'm not going to be too long on here, you know what I'm saying? I just want to definitely give a response to the sister in the group for why this is, right? So I talked about submissiveness. Most black women aren't going to be submissive. And I tell you this, right? There's a lot of talk about you have to be this alpha male and yada yada yada. Listen, I'm from the hood of New Orleans. You understand? Where niggas get it in easy. Niggas in the streets don't play like this. Like, understand, like, niggas from California, Chicago, New York, niggas that was Bloods and Crips came and tried to take shit over in New Orleans, you dig, and got straight up sent back in body bags from the gangsters down here. Niggas in New Orleans was going to Houston and Atlanta robbing drug dealers in their own damn city. You know what I'm saying? So this is like some of the best criminals and killers and gangsters in New Orleans. You understand? Based on those facts, you can look it up. And I know niggas that's straight, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like straight gangsters that have issues with women and have trouble getting women to submit. You understand? I'm talking about straight up like toxic masculine niggas. You understand? So you can miss me with that, okay, a certain man make a woman submit bullshit. And I will say, there are weak men out here that whatever they do, it don't matter what they do, they won't be able to get a woman to submit. But at the same time, submission is a choice. Submissiveness is a choice. Like, it don't matter how much stronger, more powerful, or whatever to a person that you are. that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get them submit. So anyway, so submissiveness, right? One of the sisters in the group says submissiveness is earned. See, that statement right there is a problem. That is a Western African American female talking point. That is an ideology that's specific to women in America, or women in the West, I should say. See, submission is not earned, right? What is earned is a woman dealing with a man. So if you're not gonna be, if the man that you're dealing with, you cannot be submissive to him, you can't submit to him, then you should not fuck with him at all. You see, you shouldn't deal with him. But in African culture, submission is not earned. If you respect a man and you want to be with a man, you're going to submit in Eastern cultures. But the issue is when it comes to women in America. See, okay, let me break it down, right? Women in Africa and Asia, if they deal with you, they like you, they want to be with you, they respect you as a man, they recognize you as a good man, they're going to submit to you. In America, a woman may deal with a man and say, okay, this dude isn't about shit. I'm not going to submit with him, but I'm going to stay in a relationship. I'm going to get this nigga all kind of sex, all kind of oral sex, dome him up, cook him food and all that type of stuff. But I'm not going to submit to him. I'm going to do what the hell I want to do in a relationship. I'm going to try to hurt everything that he's building. I'm going to try to tear that shit down. I'm going to nag him about working. I'm going to try to make him lose his job. I'm just going to cause chaos in the goddamn relationship because I don't respect him as a man. But I'm still going to give him all this wonderful sex. I'm still going to have his babies. I'm still going to do all this dumb shit. Instead of leaving him and finding a man that I find worthy to submit to, I'm going to stay in a relationship and do all this bullshit. That's the issue when it comes to submissiveness with African American women. Now, so we talked about submissiveness, we talked about the promiscuity, right? Another major problem that has been brought to my attention by older black men that are retired sociologists, professors of sociology that study human behavior, right, is that there is a subconscious lack of respect for black men in the minds of black women. Okay. And so this is something that is not a specific, it's not directed toward a specific black man, right? It's an overall thing, in the sense of there are black women out here who just have a lack of respect for black manhood in general. You see, when you talk about other cultures, when you talk about patriarchal, there's a overwhelming respect for womanhood and manhood, right? It's just the overall respect. It's a certain way, it's a certain respect in the way that you talk to men, you understand, in those cultures. That's missing in the African American culture, so much to the point where even men do it, where it's just a lack of respect in how you speak to other men on social media, right? So dudes don't do that shit in person, you understand, when they know they in danger of getting their ass whipped or they're in danger of, getting harmed in some other way, right? But when brothers are online, it's a whole lot of shit talking. It's a whole lot of subliminals. It's a whole lot of gifts and funny talking and stuff on the social media in terms of dealing with other men. But real men know that you don't do that, because that could be your life at any moment. A man can feel disrespected and pull out a gun and blow your head off. But women and a lot of matriarchal men who are raised by their moms and grandmothers don't understand this fact. You see, one of the reasons why the damn murder rates was so high back in the 90s, because the crack epidemic caused a situation where a lot of these young boys were raising themselves, so they didn't have no men to school them on the principles of manhood. You understand? So there's a general lack of respect for black manhood in general, right? You get on social media, you see a lot of these black women saying black men don't protect black women, discounting the Black Panthers, discounting the Deacons of Defense, discounting the MID, discounting the Brown Shirts, discounting all of these organizations that have been formed by black men since antiquity. Thousands of years, hundreds of years, in Africa, in America, and abroad, that have been organized for the protection, that have waged war in defense of black women and children. You see. So when I'm the type of man, you must have a general respect for black manhood for me to deal with you. That's a problem. I don't even associate with women and men that behave in that way. And these same women, they'll say, how to recognize these women. When these women say things like, oh, well, these niggas ain't shit, but you're a good dude. I respect you. Most of these niggas ain't shit, yada, 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 right? Okay. So, these are the things that we're talking about. African American women, another issue is that African American women don't understand their natural place in the order of gender roles, right? The reason why there's so much conflict in African American relationships today, the reason why only 26% of black women are married, 33% of black men are married, is because there is a energetic conflict, right? So when you talk about a relationship, someone has to play the masculine role, someone has to play the feminine role. I don't care what type of goddamn relationship it is. It can be a heterosexual relationship, homosexual, it could be transgenders. I don't care what it is. Someone has to play one. You can't have two people playing the masculine role. And so much of the strife and conflict in a lot of our relationships come in where you have two people trying to play the masculine role. You understand? And it's a lot of confusion on who's supposed to play that role, right? That's another reason. Now, so, I'm gonna wrap it up. I may forget a few things or anything like that, but I just want to kind of wrap up this video real quick. The final reason, which I kind of mentioned, is African American women, or I should say African women on the continent, are extremely feminine. These women are in their feminine energy, and for a masculine man, that is most attractive. For a feminine man, no. They're gonna go for the masculine woman. This is why you see, like, I know of women that are professionals that make high 5 figures, low 6 figures, that have men that are essentially either bums or like stay-at-home dad type guys. I sold cars to a few families like that where the man didn't make no little to no income, and the woman made like 100,000. You understand what I'm saying? 150,000 easy. So I said that to say that opposites attract. When they say opposites attract, they're talking about energy, feminine and masculine. Masculine does not attract to masculine in terms of relationships, intimate relationships and things of that nature, because masculine, even though it can feed off each other, is always going to clash. Okay, so African women are extremely feminine, right? When you talk about energy like masculine and feminine, it's always a modality. In other sense, let's say on a scale of 100 to a negative 100, negative 100 being the most feminine, 100 being the most masculine. Most African women that I've personally experienced, dated, talked to, befriended, are going to be between that negative 80 to negative 100 range. Now, when you talk about African American women, most African American women are on like the 20, let's say the negative 90 to, somewhere on that range. Most African American women are in their masculine energy, and that's just real. You probably have about maybe 20%, somewhere around that range, of women that are actually really, really feminine. And a lot of times those women, unfortunately, are married to non-black guys and what have you, or they're already married by the age of like 23, 25, because they get picked up for marriage so quick because they're of that feminine energy and those skills and things of that nature. So my experience of talking to African women, because I'm definitely talking to several African women from the continent right now, right, which I am getting my visas. Well, I have gotten my visas so that I can enter those countries within the next year, and I am making plans to go and probably get into the courting process with these women within the next few months, right? These women lead with femininity. They lead with, I'm going to cook for you. I'm a good cook. I want to cook for you. I believe the man is the head of the household. I will give you my opinion, but the decision is yours. I want to take care of the house. I want to provide extra income to the household, even though I'm going to be a housewife. I want to have a side business to help you out with the finances. I want to take care of the kids. All of these things that masculine men desire, want, and the energy and the behavior, when a woman is fit, the more feminine you are, you're gonna have a softness to you. No, that does not make a woman weak. No, that does not make a woman a doormat. No, that does not make a woman a child. What it makes a woman is it makes her compatible for a masculine man. It creates a coupling. It creates a coupling that just fits together perfectly in a perfect system. You understand? And one thing, let me say this too. Y'all need to stop throwing shades. Please stop throwing shade at African women and African culture by saying stuff like, okay, where she's being controlled and she's being weak and she doesn't have a mind of her own and all this old silly goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? Please stop doing that. I mean, cause if you're you can't talk shit about a culture where 80% or more of the women are married, and your culture has only 26% women married. You can't talk shit about a culture where 80% or more of the women have children by one man when your culture has 59% or more of the women have children by 2, 3, 4 men or more. Like, knock it off. Seriously? What we need to do is we need to listen, be quiet, and see what are these women doing right. What is it that these women are doing to be successful, to attract husbands? Take notes. And listen, I'm a fair dude. I'll say the same shit about the goddamn on the side of African American men. Like, African American men, we need to look at what African men are doing correct. For that, these men have successful families and things of that nature, right? So, but anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. When you talk about a woman that's feminine to a masculine man, it's really like it's something that comes over you psychologically, where you have a strong desire to protect this woman. It's like if anybody mess with this woman, like it's going down, goddamn it. You'll take somebody's head off, goddamn it, for disturbing, disrespecting, or trying to harm this woman. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like I wish a nigga would like try to deal with this sister. You know what I'm saying? On some disrespectful stuff. Masculine women don't impart that same desire. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just keeping it a buck. And this, I don't know what it is. It's on some psychological shit. I've talked to other men about it, right? It's on some psychological type ish, right? So these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why most black men prefer African women. They're submissive. Submissiveness does not have to be earned from African women. If they rocking with you, they recognize you as a good man, they're going to be submissive. If they don't think you're a good man, they're not going to deal with you. They're going to ask you to leave them the hell alone and go about your business. The mindset of these women, they lead with femininity. They come with the benefits of cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, taking care of the house, and wanting to assist you whenever possible in any way that they can. Extremely supportive, right? Also, the biggest one, femininity. Most African women just have on an energetic level, they're extremely feminine. And if you're a masculine man, that is going to attract you on an energetic level. Like outside of physical looks, outside of physical appearance, there's something about that feminine energy that just pulls masculine men in and just really kind of changes us and actually helps us and reaffirms us in our masculinity. Right? Also, when you talk about that, the whole feminine thing, the level of, I mean, listen, women are women, men are men. There's a general likeness between men of all races and groups, and as well as with all women of all races and groups. But there are distinct differences in behavior, in mindset of women from different cultures and from different backgrounds, okay? And that matters. You cannot deny that. You're not gonna bullshit me as someone that studied sociology, that studied ancient culture in college, There's no way you're gonna bullshit me and tell me that all women are the same. No. Prove it. Bring the evidence to the table. Not gonna happen. Okay. So these are the main reasons why men prefer African women, right? Submissiveness, femininity, leading with femininity. They're not promiscuous, right? And even when you're talking about African women that are living in major cities, these women are going to be a little bit more promiscuous than women that are not in the major cities, right? But even those women pale in comparison to women in the States. I mean, I know African American women that are in their damn 20s that'll probably tell you they only have 20 bodies, they only have 30 bodies. You know what I'm saying? Women in their damn 20s, women that are only like 21, 22. I only have 20 bodies. I only have 30 bodies. And they don't see nothing wrong with it. Whereas, a woman that same age in a major city in Africa, a city that's more westernized, right? They only have like 5 bodies, 3 bodies, right? And it is what it is. I mean, listen, I'm not blaming African American women for their current mindset. People within the United States that are not white have taken on the ideologies and the practices of Europeans, and it just is what it is, which is one of the reasons why I'm moving my ass to Africa, so that I can get my kids around people that have a superior culture, in which African culture, I mean, it's damn superior. I mean, if you look at the scoreboard, more people are married, there's way less single mothers, percentage and numbers wise. Their families are not in decay like the African American family is, and it just is what it is when you look at the numbers. God damn it. And so like I said, I'm not going to blame African Americans, because I understand the pathology that we have on both sides, whether it's African American women or African American men. It's not our fault. God damn it. Integration. It's almost like the Native Americans when them motherfuckers got sent to internment camps or re-education schools, and they came back acting like Europeans. Same shit with black people. I mean, we let Europeans educate us through the public school system. We allowed up our kids to hang around with white kids and take on their thoughts and things of that nature. And so it is what it is. This is the point that we're at now. And so that's why those are the core reasons why black men, a certain segment of black men, prefer African women over African American women. It has nothing to do with physical appearances. I mean, if you take some West African women and some African American women, and you mix them motherfuckers up, and you try to guess which is which, I mean, you're not going to be able to guess unless you hear them talk. If you just dress them in the same clothes, the physical attraction that black men have for black women, it's the same goddamn physical attraction we have for women on the continent. The only difference is the mindsets and the ideologies, and those things are different. So yeah, that's my take on it. If I think of something else later, right, because I just did this off the cuff, I'll probably add something to it. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your feedback. Please drop some comments in the comment section. Again, this is Jesse Veal from jesse.com, jesseveal.com. Peace.